Hello, this is Michael Wojcik with the Rochester City Council update for February 2nd, 2015. Incredibly brief meeting today. Our regular City Council meeting took only 40 minutes, and I want to say that absolutely everything passed unanimously, so don't get that a whole lot. I'm sure we'll pay for it next time around. I'm going to talk to you about four things. 55th Street, our police oversight board, taxi cab ordinance, and the rec center project coming. First of all, the rec center project. I've said for a long time I'm not interested in building more space if we can't be responsible with the space that we have. I was a little bit peeved that we again got the project brought to us, and a lot of great energy improvements planned for, but they don't actually have any of them in the request for proposal going out. The idea is just build the building now, and we'll figure out how to make it responsible later. Doesn't fly well with me. First I was inclined to vote against it, but staff claimed that the financing for these energy options was coming rather quickly, so I basically told them that I would be happy to go ahead and support it right now, and if they don't have a financing plan for the critically needed energy options, I will not support the bid when it comes in. So we'll see if staff delivers. For 2 years I've been asking for it, and I still don't have anything concrete, and that is incredibly frustrating. Second of all, small change for the taxi cab ordinances. We have our 4 criteria that are in place in order to be a driver. Must be 18, must have a valid driver's license. And the other 2 are, cannot have been convicted of a violent felony under Minnesota statutes, and also cannot have had your license revoked for something in the last 5 years. And even beyond that, that's not a, it doesn't mean that you can't drive if you fall under one of those conditions, but what it does mean is you do have to appeal to the council. Well, we streamlined that process a little bit today. What we actually did is we created a board with the city clerk that can review and give waivers for that requirement, because if somebody screwed up 9 years ago, it's not like we want to make their life more difficult by denying them work today. So basically, in the past, you had to come and stand in front of the city council with the TV cameras on and plead your case. This is much easier. It's just going to be the city clerk and 1 council member with the city attorney's office there to review, and just make sure, deal with them behind the scenes. And if they're not happy with the decision, then they can come to the city council. But this should work for most people. There was, I had a request to just ignore and grandfather in whatever criminal records might be out there. Well, I'm not going to do that. I don't know what the what the different things that people have had issues with in the past. Got to be responsible and at least take a look at them in the interest of public safety. Next up, and by the way, also I should mention too, this is not something that the City Council invented. This language was out of the Taxi Cab Commission when both companies were invited to every single meeting that they have, and we never received any objections to this until after this thing was passed. So it is what it is. Also disappointed to learn that we had intended to raise these rates to make sure that our cab drivers were paid a living wage, and one of the companies apparently slashed the percentage of the take that the cab drivers got. They said, well, they're still increasing, but bottom line is the drivers were getting 1/3 of the fares before the companies too, and when it went up, the companies decided they wanted to take a disproportionate amount of share of the improvements, and I'm not happy with that, and I may take some action to make it easier for these cab drivers to go out on their own if the companies are going to treat them like this. Next up, Police Oversight Board. A lot of conversation, not exactly sure what we ended up with, but there were some changes. Ultimately, a lot of discussion over what the makeup would be and what the process would be. Had a bias towards trying to make sure that this was similar to our other boards and commissions. I think we have some fairly good compromise language coming. There was so much back and forth, my head was kind of spinning at the end of it, so I look forward to reading it so I can see what I'm actually voting on. Look for that to come out probably prior to our next meeting. Finally, the 55th Street extension. Now, this is a county project. This has been planned for forever. Actually, the 2005 sales tax that was passed by referendum had dollars in it for this project, and it's just been sitting there spinning, and frankly, after seeing what the county's proposed, I kind of wish it was still sitting there spinning and nothing happening. I just was so incredibly disappointed with what the county proposed. I was at some of the public comment meetings. I know some of the comments and concerns that were raised by people, and they were just blatantly ignored in this process. And what's so frustrating is not only do I find the design to be incredibly poor from a fiscally responsible perspective and a safety perspective, but just they didn't even compare some of the other options, which would have been vastly cheaper and far safer. And there's not even a cost-benefit analysis that was done. And that is incredibly frustrating to me. So basically what they did is they looked at, this is going to connect the existing 55th Street up with Broadway at 48th Street, so it's a little bit of an S pattern. And what was done is they designed a high-speed roadway, 55 miles per hour, 4-lane. The projected traffic accounts, even using the ridiculously poor transportation vehicle mile assumption, still said that for the next generation, a 2 or 3-lane roadway could serve that entire corridor. Instead, what's being proposed is a 4-lane divided highway. Some of the pedestrian crossing areas are 8 lanes to cross in one light cycle. There is no safe crossing in between Broadway and West River Parkway. There's the cost is absolutely phenomenal because they're deciding to do a 4-lane even though it's nowhere near justified. And then to add insult to injury, our ability to run a bike trail along the Zumbro River in the future, continue that north, there's not even going to be a shoulder underneath the new bridges that are constructed so that the bike trail can go through there. There were some simple things that could have been done to make that process of people coming north on Broadway and then headed towards Highway 52 to make that much easier. Instead, it's an overbuilt, highly signalized, congested intersection that is far less safe for all parties involved because of the speed of the traffic and the access issues, because the focus was on speed and not safety or volume or development opportunity. We're losing a ton of tax base relative to what could have potentially been there. So the whole thing, I think, is just a terrible, terrible concept. There's an idea of municipal consent. I will vote against municipal consent because they haven't even considered the viable alternatives at this point. I am so incredibly disappointed in how poor this project has been designed. Ultimately, the difference between a 55 mile per hour design speed, which this is, and actually traffic will probably move much faster than that based on the design, and a 40 mile per hour, based on the speed for this urban arterial, you're talking about a difference in travel time of 15-20 seconds. And if we just did a better design, we could save millions of dollars, have much better development along the corridor, have it be much safer for all users, and create better traffic movements at Broadway and 48th Street. As it stands right now, it's just frustrating how much money is just being thrown away. And again, there were a number of viable options that were out there, but some engineer somewhere just said, we're going to have a 4-lane roadway. Doesn't matter if it's needed. It doesn't matter if we don't need a 4-lane roadway for 50 years, given our current projections. We're just going to do a 4-lane roadway, spend a phenomenal amount of taxpayer dollars doing that, and it is completely unjustified in this case. The 2040 projected traffic volumes, using these ridiculous assumptions that aren't going to come true, is about 20,000 vehicle trips per day. You can easily handle that with a 3-lane road design, and since there aren't many turns here, they could actually do it mostly with a 2-lane design and then adding a left turn lane in the appropriate locations. Improve it. You could also add some roundabouts to help traffic flow better in certain areas if you just did it right, but they didn't consider some of the options that I had suggested previously. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just frustrating that you do your best to build a safe community, then you get to a county road and the design is just awful. I mean, you take a look at that awful intersection at West Circle Drive and 3rd Avenue Northwest, and we are repeating that exact same design here. Have we learned nothing? As a taxpayer, it's frustrating, and I'm pretty much helpless. I mean, I could vote against municipal consent, but my guess is it's just going to pass anyways, and we're going to blow all this money and get an unsafe design, and I just have to shake my head. At some point, the county has got to move into the 21st century of road design. This is obscene. So that's kind of my rant on that one. I'm pretty disappointed by the whole thing, and I'll continue to advocate for a better road design, but I just think that based on the fact that they don't even want to compare some of these other options and do a cost-benefit analysis, I just think that the ship has sailed. They decided this is the way we're going to do that, and facts and reality don't matter. Adding insult to injury, you could design this thing in such a way that you preserve the same amount of right-of-way to do a 4-lane road design, but for now we could build a 2-lane plus a turn lane road design for the entire stretch, and then if it became necessary 30 to 50 years from now, we could convert it to a 4-lane. The taxpayer savings in doing that would be absolutely phenomenal. but we're not even doing a cost-benefit analysis to study that. So what can I say? I'm disappointed. It is what it is. I don't sit on the county board, you know. So anyway, that's what I got for you. A 40-minute council meeting. I feel like I should be there right now. Not often on Mondays I get to kiss the girls goodnight while they're still awake. So thanks for watching. Have a great week, and I will catch you next time.